All right, it is time for Bob Kennedy from Berkshire, Hathaway, Hometeam, Realty. We're going to learn about buying, selling, renting, owning land, buying, selling homes, etc. Good morning, Bob. How are you?
I'm fine. Happy to be back.
That was fun. None of those theme songs worked, huh?
I think we need a little work on
A little
those.
bit.
Little peppier ones.
I told
The right scenario, they might work. You know.
The third one was the best one, wasn't it?
Yeah.
The third one was the best one.
It was.
Especially when I narrated it.
Yes.
And you're exhaling.
Darth Vader.
The Darth Vader thing. Robin and I had a guest. Was it yesterday? Calling in from
Yesterday.
Boston. I was telling Bob Kennedy about the guest. And I can't remember the guest's name, but he was a doctor, and he was on the air to talk about something medical in nature. But before he went on the air, he could hear our local advertisers, one of which was on Top of the World, and they were advertising homes for $149,000 or something like that. So during the break at 15 minutes into the show, he was talking to us off the air and said, let me ask you about that. Is that really the prices down there? And I said, yes. Now, first, one little thing I need to tell you. He thought he was talking to Orlando. Mm-hmm. So he thought that was an Orlando price. And I said, no, this is Ocala. He said, oh, okay. So I guess he looked it up real quick and saw where we were. Okay. But he was interested. He saw that price and he was interested. So you're a guy from New Jersey. You're familiar with the prices in the Northeast. That must look really good. 149 looks really good, doesn't it?
Sure. I mean, you figure what's made Ocala attractive, Marion County attractive, is affordability. So if you live up in those areas, you live in Chicago, you live in most any metro area, even South Florida, your dollar's going a lot farther here than it is in most areas.
Wow.
And you get Florida, you know?
Right.
So, yeah, the Northeast and the Northwest are the, West Coast, I should say, from LA up or from San Diego up. The prices out there are, you're getting starter homes for $600,000.
Okay, so we don't know him, but let me pretend I'm in his position. Okay.
Sure.
And let me pretend I'm younger, and let me pretend I have a family with children going to school. Mm-hmm. Because my next question, if I was calling you, Bob, I would say, wow, are those prices for real? You would say, yes, they're for real. Now you know that I'm interested, right? But my next question is going to be about life here. How is this going to be for my children's education? How is it going to be for their future jobs? And are we doing okay in this community regarding those things? Do you have those questions coming to you all the time?
Every day. I
Really?
mean, that's what we do. I mean, if you're moving here and you have a family, you're no different than when I moved here with my family of young kids.
There you go. Right,
and it's like,
right.
well, what can we expect? What are we looking at? And that's what we talk about. And I'll tell them about people that I'll tell them my experiences. I'll tell them what other people have done. We'll talk about, things to do outside of work. We'll talk about things to do with going from out of the area.
Mm-hmm.
If you're, what are you looking for? Some people want a boat. Some people want to go to the beach.
Everybody wants
some people
a
want to
boat.
fish, whatever it might be. Golf, I just mentioned a whole bunch of things I don't do. So, but that's it. Yeah. So you give them the whole rundown, and let's face it, Ocala right now is looking really good. I mean, everything's on the upswing here.
So you gave me your tablet so that I could have some talking points.
Sure.
And so help me understand this. It says that the 2016 forecast is exciting, and it's going to be normal. Is normal exciting?
Normal's exciting because normal will be the first year since 2007, probably, what's considered our normal real estate market, which is a good mix of buyers, a good inventory of homes, not too many, not too few. It's fair, which makes it healthy. And all the indications are that it's just going to get better as the year goes on.
So what would you suggest? Because it says on the notes here that new home construction focuses more on affordability. So if you were the guy in Boston and everything passes my test and I say, okay, I'm going to do this, do I get a home that's already built or do I have a new one built?
Whatever your preference is. One of the nice things right now is you're starting to see a lot more new construction again. New home construction here was dormant for a number of years. The only person that was really building was down in the villages. But now there's several communities that are being built. both as 55 plus and as regular communities. So it's all good.
But what's happening to the shopping centers? I mean, we've got so many shopping centers that had huge stores. They're all vacant, but yet people still keep coming to our area, and those centers, nobody's going in to build a business.
They are, but there is a classic case of supply and demand. If you go out on 27, Publix was in a shopping center for many years. Mm-hmm. They moved half a mile up the road into a new shopping center. That shopping center is doing great. Mm-hmm. The shopping center they moved out of,
right.
That's so great. Yeah, dead. Wow, isn't that amazing?
Dead. So, the people go in and build this stuff, and developers are big boys. They take the risk. They understand the rewards. But yeah, so if you go over to right on the corner of 36th and Maricamp is where Winn-Dixie used to be. That place is virtually vacant. There's 3 or 4 stores on the front, and
right.
80% of the place is vacant. But if you go right down to the next intersection, there's a new shopping center with Publix as an anchor. They have great restaurants in there, yogurt shops, all the things that you come to expect. So companies are going where retail, that's really retail is
Yes.
what we're talking about. They're picking their battles.
Oh, okay.
And if you're not providing top of the line amenities, you're gonna get beat up there.
Oh wow, and it can go like that. I mean, it's kind of, it's ruthless, isn't it? I mean, it's all.
It's not fun and games. It's a business.
This Publix used to be Publix next door to the mall. I mean, it's dead now.
Yeah, the shopping center.
Yeah, well, you look at you because they're up further west and they're kicking butt, and it's just that's the way the market is. That's retail. Retail's brutal.
So in selling, no, do we take the same things into consideration as we're the seller, not the buyer? I put myself into the Boston guy's shoes. What if I was owning the home here, trying to get that Boston guy to buy my home? What do I tell him? Same things?
Well, you're going to tell him. The same things. I mean, if people are coming to us and talking about a specific listing of ours, a buyer's going to have certain things that they want in a house. Okay, price obviously plays into it because they have to be able to have an approval letter from the lender saying, hey, I can afford this much house.
Right.
Now, what can I get for that much house? How much of your wish list of, whether it's a fireplace, whether it's high ceilings, whether it's an extended garage, a swimming pool, granite countertops, updated kitchens and baths, all that kind of stuff, that all plays into it.
Let's go to our break, and the phone lines are open. If you want to call Bob during this show, you certainly are welcome. The number is 622-9622, and I'm just curious if we're at that point. We'll get the answer from Bob on the other side. I'm curious if we're at that point where it's do it now or regret waiting. We'll be right back.
At Ameris Bank, we understand that there is no purchase more exciting than the purchase of a new home. We are dedicated to helping you find the mortgage that meets your needs and giving you the personal attention you deserve. Our mortgage options offer a variety of benefits, including up to 100% financing, down payment assistance, and expansive credit qualifications, all with the competitive rates and exceptional service. Call Ameris Bank today or visit amerisbank.com to learn more. We look forward to serving you.
Ameris Bank is an equal housing lender and member of FDIC, a loan subject to credit approval.
Enjoy a cookout with the chef as part of the Appleton Museum's Artful Dining fundraising series on Saturday, March 12th from 1 till 3 p.m. Enjoy Ocala's fine spring weather and mocktails at an afternoon cookout at Ocala Fire Department headquarters on Tuscaloosa Park. Featured artwork includes pottery by Rudolph Clay Studio and mixed media work by Dustin Goolsby. Tickets are $55 for Appleton members and $65 for non-members. Call 352-291-4455, extension 1834, or visit appletonmuseum.org. Palm Gardens Chats at the Garden is all new on March 22nd from 2 till 3 p.m.
Great. I love Palm Gardens Chats. What's the topic?
Metro Crime Prevention is speaking about identity theft, purse snatching, fraud and scams, guns, weapons, and more.
We all need to go to Palm Garden on Tuesday, March 22nd from 2 to 3 p.m. I'm calling 854-6262 now.
That's 352-854-6262 for Palm Garden.
Have you heard of Hyperdirectory? When looking for local businesses, go to hyper.directory. No need for www, no need for .com, just hyper.directory. Connecting customers to local companies when it matters most. Hyperdirectory is your local business directory partnered with the Ocala Chamber and Economic Partnership to bring you trusted local businesses. Keeping Ocala local. Use hyper.directory. No www, not even .com, just hyper.directory. Connecting customers to businesses when it matters most.
At Ameris Bank, we understand that there is no purchase more exciting than the purchase of a new home. We are dedicated to helping you find the mortgage that meets your needs and giving you the personal attention you deserve. Our mortgage options offer a variety of benefits, including up to 100% financing, down payment assistance, and expansive credit qualifications, all with the competitive rates and exceptional service. Call Ameris Bank today or visit amerisbank.com to learn more. We look forward to serving.
All right, 12 minutes before 10 o'clock. Thank you for tuning in. Bob Kennedy is here from Berkshire Hathaway Hometeam Realty. We're learning some pretty interesting stuff about real estate, and it's not the textbook stuff, because this is stuff that is today. In other words, maybe last week it would have been different, and next week it'll be different. This is really stuff right now that we need to know, right?
This is where we're at in today's market. You want to have an idea of what's ahead of us and also kind of what's behind us.
Yeah.
I always joke that, you have a lot of people are calling up, they're going, I want to buy a house for $50,000, $60,000. It's like
that's yesterday.
That's kind of sailed, especially if you're not an investor.
So let me go back to the notes you gave me, because one of the things, and this is what I was.
That's from Florida Association of Realtors.
Oh, okay.
So that's like our.
This
that's
is
kind of our
website,
thing.
FloridaRealtors.org. Okay, I see it. Okay, so one of the things it says in this article is what led me to that little tease before the break, which was, is this the time where you either, if you've been waiting because you knew it was a good market, this is the time to do it, otherwise you're going to regret it? Because it says here, mortgage rates will likely be volatile in 2016. The recent move by the Federal Reserve to guide interest rates higher should push mortgage rates higher in the new year. So how do we use that information to make a decision?
Well, you have to understand that the odds on interest rates staying where they're at are slim. Even with everything that's come out from the Fed over the last few months, we're still under 4%. We're still under 4%. That can't last forever. Now, 5 or 6% to me is not really that big a deal, but you're going to see headlines people freaking when they're going to pay 6.5% for a mortgage, which is still really, really historically pretty great. Mm-hmm. But yes, the rates, as the economy grows, as everything happens, sooner or later rates are going to push up. But the good news is they're not going to go up that much. If you got believe me, financing is phenomenal right now, and it's going to stay that way
for a while.
Yeah,
okay,
but
okay.
Let's face it. If you look back and you say, "Hey, a 3-point swing," that makes you're in a different neighborhood.
So if you're thinking about getting a mortgage and you feel like you're not really ready, so you're going to drag your feet a little bit, maybe take a whole year even. No big deal. No big deal to wait a year.
I don't think it's a big deal. The main thing is that you're financed. When you're ready to go, you're ready to go. If some people want to save up more for a bigger down payment, I applaud that. If people are dying to get into a home, especially if it's a first-time buyer, which we're finally seeing more of from a statewide standpoint, the millennials getting into the market, because that age group has been crushed by student debt, hard to get jobs, coming out of school, things like that, and that's starting to get better. So for those people and for anyone else, you have things like FHA, 3.5% down. Right. If you're a vet, you have the VA, which is 0% down. So, and a lot of banks, virtually every bank now, is offering a 5% down conventional product.
The other side of this is the rent versus owner part of this. Because if mortgages go up, I'm basing this on the article, then so will the rents, correct?
Well, rents have skyrocketed.
Even at a greater rate than the mortgages?
Now it's probably, for most people, it's probably cheaper to have a mortgage than pay the rent. That's just how expensive rents are getting, because there's very little inventory. Our property management, we're close to probably about 85 units, single family homes, and we have one vacancy.
Wow.
So if you were paying, let's say, $1,000 a month rent right now, let's just say it was a round figure, okay, and you knew $1,000 a month would get you a pretty nice house.
Sure.
Right? Maybe comparable to what you're renting, I would hope, right?
I would hope.
Okay. And you do it now. A year from now, your payments, your mortgage will still be $1,000, but that place you're renting may be $1,200.
Might be. One thing I always, caution landlords is, we have, our market can only absorb so much in rents. People only make so much money for the most case when you're talking about two income families with kids. So, if you get a little bit too much, then they don't have money to do anything else, and they're not going to be happy if they're struggling just to make a rent payment every month.
Yeah, I think you're right. If you want to call Bob, this is a great time to call. The number is 622-9622. Bob Kennedy is with Berkshire Hathaway Hometeam Realty. We would love to hear from you, and maybe even give us a recommendation of what kind of theme music we can use for Bob. How are we doing with foreclosures? That you don't hear that word much anymore.
Another good sign is there's less and less. Same thing with short sales. So it means that there's a lot more homeowners with positive equity in their home again, because we've had so many gains in pricing. About a year ago this time, probably our average sale in Marion County was about $90,000, and now it's like $125,000.
And now you hear about Habitat for Humanity homes, and when the owner buys the home, they don't pay interest. They just pay principal, so interest doesn't exist. How can those banks afford how can those banks afford to finance a home without interest, but yet the banks can't afford to finance other homes without interest?
Well, that's kind of, Habitat, that's a nonprofit, and they have a whole system built in there where they're really, really providing an unbelievable service to the communities, and they're all over the world. I know a gentleman that's been to over 40 countries building Habitat homes.
Really?
Yeah,
Wow.
just amazing. And not the countries you think of. I mean, this guy's in places that, it's
Never heard of?
Yeah, and so they do. So they're a whole different thing, but they're not. You're not. That's a great thing if you're able to do that.
And if you put your headset on, we'll take a phone call. Good morning. Thank you for calling. You're on the air with Bob Kennedy.
Yes, good morning, everybody, and good morning, Bob.
Good morning.
We're landowners. We've got property out of state, up north, and we're renting it's a single-family home, and we're renting it at a very reasonable rate. And we've been checking out, doing research on what the rentals are going for in that area up there, and we're almost a couple $100 on the light side. The thing is, we've got super tenants, always on time with payments, doing little things around the house, fixing up this, that, and whatnot. When I go up north every summer, I always make a visit over there, and I can't believe how nice the place looks. What is your opinion on raising the rent? We're so happy with these people. We should probably maybe leave it as is, or maybe go up a little bit. Or what would you think?
I'd say you get them a nice Christmas present every year. if they're that happy and you're that happy, why rock the boat?
Yeah, that's what more or less I was trying to convince my wife. She thinks we should maybe up it at least $50, maybe $100 a month, which is still in a reasonable rate. But I said, boy, I tell you, the way these people are taking care of the property, that like I said, I think we should just leave it alone.
Well, I agree. Everybody's situation's a little bit different, but one thing that you have to always consider as a landlord is deferred maintenance. So, what are you going to have to spend on the house once a tenant moves out? And usually usually it's not cheap. I mean, if you're going to make the place nice again, you're going to have to do painting, flooring, all those types of things. So if you have somebody that's taking care of your property, it's worth, there's a little bit more value than just what you get every month.
Yeah. It's interesting with these people. At the house and the property, I think is in better shape now than it was before we started renting it. And,
Those.
it's just wonderful. I know renting can be a big. We've had some situations in the past where you can get some real stinkers in there, and it can be a problem moving them out. But
Well,
when you get such a nice, wonderful couple, we got a couple of nice kids, and it just like you say, it's probably not to shake the boat there too much and leave it as is.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it sounds like a win-win.
Yeah. Thank you very much.
Okay, good luck.
Yeah.
I think I was Robin is a really great tenant. Robin rents right now, and when I rented, I think I was pretty good. I actually raised my own rent.
Yeah, you did.
One time. Yeah, can I tell you the story?
You did.
I rented from a little lady, and she was really sweet, and she would always come over, and just like Hugh, she'd be complimenting me on how well I took care of the house. And I thought, you know what? I know that the taxes went up. I knew that the what do you call that rate?
The interest
millage
rate?
Oh, millage rate. That's the word. Yeah. I knew.
Okay.
I knew that had gone up, so I said, I'm going to raise my rent if you don't mind. And she said, what? So I did. I raised my rent. I don't think it was by that much. I think it was $50. But I really felt like, okay, she's treating me good, and I really know that she much anymore because the price has gone up. And she hadn't raised my rent ever. Mm-hmm. So I raised it and started paying more. Good morning. You're I'm sorry, Bob. If you can put the phone on, headset down. Good morning. You're on the air with Bob Kennedy.
Yeah, good morning. I have a suggestion for a bumper.
Okay.
Rosemary Clooney sang a song called "This Old House."
Nice.
That sounds good. All right, thank you.
Okay, Doc. Have a good day.
Bye-bye.
See if I can get it ready before we end the show.
Okay.
This old house. Rosemary Clooney. There it is. Okay, I found it. We're going to end on that. Well, all of this talk, this has been a very informative show today.
It has.
Well, good.
Yeah. Can you give us your contact information?
352-622-9700.
All right. And where's your address? What's your
2161 East Fort King Street, and we're on Highway 441 in Lady Lake in the Villages.
Okay. Put your headset on. I want you to hear what the song sounds like.
Okay.
We're hearing it for the first time.
This old house once knew his children. This old house once knew his wife. This old house was home and comfort as they fought the storms of life.
What do you think?
This old house once rang with laughter. This old house heard many shouts. Now he trembles in the darkness when the lightning walks about.
Oh, this sounds older than the 70s to me.
Hey, that's good old country right there.
We don't want to sell one of those houses where you have no time to fix the shingles in the floor.
Good suggestion.
That's a very good suggestion.
Thank you.
Cool.
Thank you.
Thank you, Bob.
Enjoyed it. Thank you so much.
Have a great weekend. We will see you next week.
Yes.
All right. We'll take a little break and we'll be right back.
Casting from the Paddock Mall Studios, this is WOCA, Ocala, Gainesville, The Villages, 1370 AM, 96.3 FM, The Source.
Fox News Radio, I'm Lillian Wu. A major coup in the GOP race for president.
Donald Trump talks a lot about making America